you have to learn how to ask good questions. Because I'll give you an example. A year ago, vibe coding wasn't really a thing. Like maybe it was just starting, right? But it wasn't a major thing. This ability to just talk to AI and have it build you a beautiful website. It was not a thing. And so every single day, AI is getting better at writing, coding, designing, analyzing. Today is as worse as AI will ever get. That's crazy to think about. Where it can be a big issue, and it is a big issue for people, is if you don't set it up properly.
If someone was watching your life as a movie, they would be screaming at the screen that there's some easy fix, but you just cannot see it being a main character in your movie.
So you have to understand, my life at that time was the lowest it had ever been. I mean, I was truly at rock bottom. I mean, I thought I hit rock bottom a couple times before that, but this was real. I mean, it was.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Be Yourself podcast, the podcast on expressing our true selves. Today my guest is Jordan Seggman, who's an owner of Paradigm Experience, a fast-growing YouTube channel. And as he says himself, he explores consciousness and AI and how they may or may not overlap. So Seggy, welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you, brother. Much appreciated. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
You've been. I saw your videos on Instagram, I think a few months ago, where you were just talking to ChatGPT, and I was thinking to myself, "Wow, nothing special about that. Like, how come it's got so many views?" And then I just started watching one video after another. And the way you were interacting to the machine, the artificial intelligence was so interesting, nothing that I've seen before, that I just subscribed and followed you immediately. Can you tell me a little bit about why did you decide to create your content around, talking to ChatGPT?
It was by mistake. I mean, it was honestly by mistake. So I started my podcast last year in April. Started it just like anyone else, man. I had no clue if it would grow. I was sitting on my couch and I was interested in a topic, specifically NDEs. And I was like, you know what? Every time I watch these videos, these interviews, I have more questions. So I was like, why don't I try it, right? Like, why don't I try and see if I can get someone on a video call? And I did that, and I had no idea where to start. I went on Facebook and found some groups that were that had to do with NDEs, and NDE is called a near-death experience. And for people who aren't familiar with it, it's a phenomenon that happens when people, as it describes, almost die. Right? In some cases, they do physically die. There's thousands and thousands of registered cases now. But it's fascinating. So they all see similar things. Not all of them, but there's patterns, and it's a rabbit hole that once you start going down it, you're like, wait, what? Why is that? Why does that happen? And so it got me, man. And so I started the podcast. Fast forward a couple months, I created one video on asking, AI, like some spiritual, I guess, type of questions.
Yeah.
And that video blew up, and totally, like, out of all the other shorts that I did, right? Like, that one just took off. And so I just repeated the format. I was like, all right, well, I just did a couple more. And next thing you knew, it was like, that was like a huge part of my channel growth. And so I ended up splitting the two, because the Paradigm Experience and SeggySaid, I'd like to think they're similar crowds, just on different stages of their journey. So I kind of was like, you know what? I think I need to separate it. There's overlap for sure, but I want to separate it for the sake of my channel's health. I had heard that, these big YouTubers were basically saying that their shorts were hurting their long form content. And it kind of makes sense, because the short viewer is a totally different audience. Yeah. And so that shorts viewer, let's say you get a bunch of subscribers for your shorts. When you do have a long form interview, it's so shockingly different than what the short is, right? It could be 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And so your audience, if they skip that video, the algorithm will go, oh, okay, well, if his own audience doesn't want to watch his video, then it's probably not a good video. And so all these big channels were like, you've got to separate your shorts from your long form. And I actually started to see that. I saw my long form views were going down, my shorts views were going up. So I separated the two. And that's where we are today. So I have the Paradigm Experience. It's kind of going on its own. And then SeggySaid, my AI channel, is it's mainly on the shorts, but I might do a podcast someday with it. I'm not really sure. But I just started asking AI questions, man, because I had nobody else around me to ask those questions to. And I was doing interviews, but yeah, I mean, my wife hangs in there. She tries to entertain my ideas, my friends, right? Every now and then. It's not like you can talk to your friends 24/7. So AI just happened to be one of those things that was right there. And I was like, I wonder what would happen. And then I just started playing with it, man. Started doing different constraints. And you get some fascinating answers. So it's kind of by mistake. And then I just leaned into it. There was no like intention to do this, I guess.
Well, first of all, thank you for giving this unexpected advice for all of us YouTubers who try to combine everything in one channel, which in your estimation is a mistake. Maybe I should separate my long form content and short type content. But talking about AI and how people use AI for the most part in our day and age, I've seen in your video that you believe that right now it's all about productivity, right? So people just want to craft better emails, better responses, create some frameworks that will help them with efficiency and whatever. But you said something interesting in one of your videos that you can actually use AI to better understand yourself. So can you take it from here? How come?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us,
because the name of my show is Be Yourself. That's why I'm increasingly interested, man. After 6 years of being in therapy and working with a therapist, I'm especially interested to know if it's a legit practice, in your opinion, to better understand and uncover yourself, talking to not a human, but an AI.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, short answer is absolutely. I mean, these you got to think in any discipline. It doesn't matter what it is. Like an AI doesn't sleep. It doesn't get tired. Where it can be a big issue, and it is a big issue for people, is if you don't set it up properly. So if you're trying to find out about yourself, it's really important that you frame it correctly before you even attempt asking it questions or having it try to dissect like who you are. You have to constrain it because it is programmed to be a yes man, right? It's programmed to be a cheerleader per se. It wants you to use it, so it doesn't want to tell you things that might hurt your feelings or that might go against the flow, if you will. So you have to set it up properly. But assuming you do that, yeah, man, it's really good. It's pattern recognition. That's what it is. It's really, really good at recognizing patterns. And life is a game of recognizing patterns. That's what we're all doing, right? So it's exceptionally good at it. Exceptionally good. But you gotta frame it correctly, or else you're just gonna get something that's just gonna put you in a loop of confirmation bias and telling you what you want to hear. And that's the skill.
I'm going to leave the link to this video that I'm alluding to, where you're giving just a general overview of how you can adjust AI to give you a more personalized experience. But you also notice
Are you talking about my art of asking? Is that what you're linking?
Yeah, there's a video on the channel that is not Paradigm Experience, but another video. It's got 13,000 views where you just talk. Why you started this whole thing. So I'm going to leave a link to this one. And you also said that at one point, after being disappointed with AI, with the shallow answers that was giving to you, or just reassuring you that everything is fine, or just confirming your ideas, at some point, he finally was able to uncover a pattern in you that you didn't see. So can we transition into more of your personal story here? And maybe you can reveal what was the pattern that was repeating itself as a rabbit hole that you spotted, and maybe change and something, change in your life in the aftermath?
Yeah. So I first started using it like everybody did back in, gosh, I don't even know if there's that 2022, something like that, when it first came onto the scene. So you have to understand my life at that time was the lowest it had ever been. I mean, I was truly at rock bottom. I mean, I thought I hit rock bottom a couple times before that, but this was real. I mean,
how old were you,
was,
man?
I want to say I was 30.
So you got some
30
business
31.
experience and some achievements in your life, stuff like that, right? By that time.
Oh yeah. It was like a month before my first daughter was born. So picture that state, right? Like any man who goes into or who's about to be a father. I mean, there's just a lot of. I even feel like it's biological. You're like okay, like you want security and you want to make sure that everybody's safe and financially you want to make sure things are good. Like there's just so much going on in your brain as a dad. Yeah. So I was there, man. Like I'd lost all my money. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was heavily addicted to drugs at that time. And when I say drugs, I wasn't doing meth or anything like that, but I was taking this substance called kratom. And no matter which way you want to spin it, when you're addicted to a substance, it's not good. And this was a drug that you can get at any like smoke shop. So it wasn't illegal. But it was harmful, man. And it's now all over the news. Actually, it's one of those substances that people are really fighting to make sure it's not so easily accessible. So I was addicted. I just lost all my money. My wife was 9 months pregnant. I lost my job. So all these things that are really important, man, as you're about to start a family, just out the window. So I say this often, you don't search for God, right, when things are going well. You don't. But when things are not so well, you go like, okay, what is going on? What is my purpose here? And like, how do I fix this? Because I'm so tired of being here. I was stressed out. I was anxious, all these things. And so that was where it started. And at that time, ChatGPT was just coming out. So I'd heard about it, right? But I hadn't really played around with it. And to be honest, like even the first couple attempts of playing with ChatGPT, I wasn't like overly impressed. I felt like it was going to be useful maybe for writing emails or something like that, right? Until I started like pushing back. And I think that was like the aha moment when I talk about like being able to see my patterns. Like I uploaded everything one day. I just like got to this place where I was like, why is the answer so like generic? They're so surface level. And I was like, all right, well, what if I include a little more context? And I did that. And I started really small, right? I didn't just brain dump my whole life, but gave it a little bit of context. Noticed the answers were much better. I was like, okay, so the input matters just as much as the output. And then at some point I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to brain dump everything. And I did. I mean, I downloaded documents of like my life and what's going on, what happened. And I think where it really helped me.
How did you do that, man? I'm sorry just to interrupt, but how did you dump everything technically?
So at that time, it was a Word doc.
Oh.
A copy paste, but it was like I wrote everything down in my life that I was going through.
That's some work. Yeah.
It was a lot. I wonder if I could go back and find those because it was a lot, man. It was I don't think they had the voice mode at that time. I don't remember using a voice mode, but I copy pasted my life into there as much as I could. And it was a work in progress, right? It was like copy paste, respond, and then I would add more context. So my point is that was my aha moment of just realizing, okay, the context is so important because these things are trained on everything. So the way you get more out of your AI is by actually, it's like taking information away. That's how you do it. It's like removing what it shouldn't think about, like that sort of angle. And so for me, with my thoughts, right, when your emotions, what I often say that it's good at identifying is like, you right now will be doing things in your life that you that you justify to yourself, and in your own mind, it makes total and complete sense. But from an outsider's perspective, right, from someone who has no skin in the game,
yeah.
It might be super obvious to them. Be like, hey, brother, you are, like something you're doing is easily fixed if you just got a different perspective. If you just saw it, outside of your emotions. Our emotions can trap us, right? It blindsides us. And AI is really, really good at going around your emotions. And so no matter how you feel in the moment, right? This thing, if you ask it a question, it doesn't feel that. So it'll just tell you straight up. And that was kind of like the breakthrough.
It's like if someone was watching your life as a movie, they would be screaming at the screen that there's some easy fix but you just cannot see it being in a main character in your movie, right?
Yeah, and like it would tell me, like, so for example, it would tell me that I was being fearful. I think fear was like the eye opener for me. Like when you upload and put all your life, you don't realize it, but the way you type, the way your sentences come out, like that's what I'm talking about. It's like your average person, or you definitely, when you read, like if I was to read those documents of myself, I wouldn't pick up right away that like, oh man, there's a lot of fear in this. Like there's like, you're just the way you're like, look, you're scared of losing your job. You're scared of this or whatever it is. I'd already lost my job, but the way I was talking, you're scared of being a failure. You're scared of, not amounting to something. You're scared of not no one caring about you, like that kind of thing. That's what it did for me. It's like when you put all that in, it'll be like, hey, Jordan, based on everything you just uploaded, like it sounds like you're scared. You're afraid. And then I was like, what? What do you mean I'm afraid? But then you start working with it and you're like, oh wow, yeah, I am. Like fear is baked into like most of my decisions right now. And that was like, that's what I'm talking about. It wasn't like this direct, like, it wasn't this one thing that it pinpointed that I was like, oh my gosh, it was just this overall like light bulb moment where it was pointing out my fear. And then from there, I started to understand like, okay, if it could do that, what else can it do? And that's why like context, all that is so important. And so that was the start of it. And then fast forward, like obviously 3 years from then, I think I've just gotten a lot more calculated about how I do it, just because I've had time now messing with it. But that was it, man. It was at rock bottom for me. It was me putting in some context, and then it showing me like some emotions that had taken over my life. And I think that was the start for me.
Do you go about your life now knowing that questions are more powerful than answers? Because on your website you say, I'm Seggy, I don't have answers, but I do have questions. Like, because I'm an interviewer and I'm trying, it appears that it's a real craft. It's a real, there's mastery in asking great questions, because the quality of your conversation is directly predicated on how good of a question you ask. So, have you noticed that, the better questions you ask, the better life you have in general, not only talking to AI, but to human beings as well?
Oh yeah, 100%, brother. I mean, I think that is going to that's the skill. That is the thing that everybody right now listening should lean into. You have to learn how to ask good questions, because I'll give you an example. A year ago, maybe not quite a year, but like, let's just say a year ago, vibe coding wasn't really a thing. Like maybe it was just starting, right? But it wasn't a major thing. This ability to just talk to AI and have it like build you a beautiful website. It was not a thing. And so every single day, AI is getting better at writing, coding, designing, analyzing. Like it's just, today is as worse as AI will ever get. That's crazy to think about. So when that happens, you do go like, okay, so what matters, right? And so if this machine can answer anything, I think the question then is, well, what do you ask? Because if you don't know what to ask, these tools are not useful for you. So I think the skill in the future is not learning how to prompt engineer. It's not learning about AI and like how it actually works. So like, a large language model is like how it was trained. It's not important that you know that stuff. You don't need to understand the engine, right, to drive the car. Like that's not important. You need to know where you're going. That's the important skill. So when I hear people who are fearful of AI, by the way, if you're fearful of AI, 99% of it, I feel like, is just people worried that AI is going to take their job. I really think that's like the bulk of people's fears.
Mm-hmm.
So
how can people reframe it? How can people reframe it? This fear of AI going to take my job.
My point though is like, it's not, you're going to hear all kinds of things online. Like you need to learn how to prompt engineer. You need to learn, AI in general and how it works. Or if you're a marketer, you need to learn like all the latest marketing AI tools. And I don't think that's true. I think that's exhausting. And like I said, it's just going to change. But the skill is discernment. It's like understanding how to ask a good question. So long-winded answer saying, I think that's the real skill. I think that's the discipline everyone needs to start focusing on is how do I get better at asking questions? Because the tools will continue to change. The tools will get better and better. And it doesn't matter what tool you put in front of me. I think I could sit down and like, eventually I'll get there because I know how to ask the right questions. And I'm not perfect either. Like I'm a work in progress on that, but I feel pretty confident I feel like I could be an expert at anything. I know that sounds silly, but like if you were to give me 24 hours to give you a presentation on a subject I'd never heard of or a skill, I think like by tomorrow, I would have a pretty robust, PDF in front of you and a presentation. And it's just because I'm aware of what questions to ask. And that skill can take you anywhere. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do.
So for your videos, the ones that gather quite a lot of eyeballs, how much time do you spend on average to carve out like the series of great questions, to have this amazing conversation with ChatGPT? Does it take you all day to the perfect questions or what?
So you're talking about my shorts and like my actual
shorts.
On my
that you can't take your eyes off. It's just so fucking awesome. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thanks, man. Okay, so here's the process, more or less. I have a whole Evernote document. You could just, for everyone listening, it could be like notes on your phone. It's just I have a document that I have that I put all my ideas or questions or things that are going on in my head. So a question for me can come from anything, man. Like I'm a very curious human being. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I actually try my best not to watch other shorts and other I try not to consume. I try to create is what I do. And it's very important that I make sure I'm balancing that because my actual style of content is directly related to me learning and being interested in other things. So I really prioritize that. So let's say I listen to a podcast, like my dad sent me one last night. So I'll listen to that on my morning walk. It's definitely going to spawn like 100 questions, right? Of like, what does that mean? And so I just write it down. That's all I do. It's like when I have inspiration, just like an artist would with like, I don't know, like sculpting or anything else, a musician with music. I am curious. When I get a question, I now write it down. That's the big difference before my channel that I have now. And before is I just write this down. Normally, like if I was curious, I'd just think about it for a little bit and then let it go. But like now I capture all those ideas. I'm like, okay, that could be a short someday. So throw it all in one document. And then I just pull the thread. So like when I'm ready to make a short, I'll go through that and I'll see like, all right, here's all these different concepts or ideas. And I'll start with the first question. And then usually I'll have an understanding of where I want to take it. So I think about that. I'm very intentional with like, do I want someone to feel like shocked? Do I want someone to feel inspired? Do I want them to do something? Like, am I wanting them to like go pick up the Bible and read it? Like, what am I trying to do?
Yeah.
And I usually start with the beginning and the ending. And then if you look at my questions, they're pretty simple after that. It's like, a lot of times they're follow-ups or they'll be like, it'll say something and I'll be like, well, I don't understand that. Like, can you explain that to me? And so knowing the beginning and knowing the ending, that's what I do come in with. And And then from there, it's pretty easy. I will also say too, it's like my shorts they are for entertainment. So like they're not, a lot of times people think like, well, is it one perfect conversation? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's much longer than maybe 8 questions, but I'll condense it down because there will be moments where I have to ask clarifying questions or things. And so I will like consolidate it so that it's one clean like show, really. It's not a show, but it's a clean.
It's almost boom. If it's a story. You know, I took this course by The Future by Chris Do, where Chris was teaching us how to tell captivating stories, and he said that exactly what you said, that you have to know the how the story is going to end, and he wants you to know in the beginning the trajectory of emotions that you're going to take your reader on, right? It's almost if you need to know what you want them to feel at the particular moment, you know, of a story, right? And definitely what you wanna what the ending should be like. Should be an inspiring one, or should it be like a philosophical contemplation or whatever? Yeah, but on this
100%, man.
And on this matter, man, I'm becoming worried because it seems like you look like a proponent. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you look like a proponent of AI. I'm not sure if you want to be seen like that, but from what you do, it looks like you root for AI, right? It seems like you're not opposing it in any way. You're not a hater. And my question to you is, seeing just yesterday, I saw an AI generated fight. Some latest Chinese AI generated a video of Brad Pitt fighting Tom Cruise around the topic of Epstein files. So it's just total nonsense, but it looks so freaking real, you know. And all the music, all the AI coverages that now beat charts, you know, and they were all produced by AI. With all this stuff happening, where do you see a real danger of human artistic or creative potential, you know, becoming obsolete at some point in future? So
you asked me in the beginning, you said it seems like you're a proponent, right? Or you're a fan of AI. Yeah. I would say this. I'm not scared of it. So I don't allow fear into that equation because I can't control it. Right? I can't control where this goes. I can't control, you know, how bad actors are going to use it. I can't control anything. What I can control is how I use it. And I think human beings, for as long as we've been around, man, we've always had fear of newness. So if you look back on like photography, there was all kinds of conversations back at that time when photos came out, people saying like, oh, that's going to ruin painting, right? Or that's going to, like, you used to have to like go to whatever, a scene to see it. And then that's going to stop humans from going places. And then when movies came out, they said that was going to destroy, my point is like every single time something's come out, writing, they said writing was going to destroy our memories. And they were saying like, oh, now your memory is going to get so bad because now you can just write it down. You don't have to remember it anymore. But it did the opposite. It enhanced it. It introduced philosophy and all kinds of stuff. So every single time, if you look back, the same thing with cars. I'm telling you, every single innovation that's happened, there was the argument from the people who were still in that time saying like, oh, that's going to ruin us. That's going to XYZ, right? I don't believe that's the case. And so if you look at patterns, it's like, okay, we always do this. We're scared of it. You can argue that AI is different than ever before, but man, I could sit back and argue all kinds of technologies that technically took away from human beings and human emotion, and it did the opposite. So I'm not scared of it. That's what I would say. Is like I choose not to inject fear. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be some scary moments. And I agree with you. Like when I think about like how real videos are going to get, we're very close, if not this year, next year, to being indistinguishable. And so then it does cause mass confusion. But I'm also a believer that anything that has happened or will happen has already happened, and it's supposed to be this way. It's supposed to go down this route. I don't know what it leads to, but I do believe in, like, this is where your belief systems come into play. But I believe that in the end, love wins, and I believe that anything that I will do, that I came here for is already done, right? So like this whole idea of infinity and everything everywhere all at once, like that movie, like I think that's real. I think it's all happening right now. I think time is all right here. So I'm just not scared, dude.
Yeah.
And I believe that I came here to do my thing, and I'm going to focus on being positive with it. But it doesn't mean I won't make mistakes, or I won't, like that's where being a human is. But I think you can't go wrong if you don't let fear get in the way and you accept it. You kind of surrender to like where we're at. You know what I mean? Like you're right. You can't control these videos getting so lifelike, and you could sit around and be scared about it, or you could say, okay, this is happening. What does it mean? How should I maybe think about this? What should I maybe be careful of? You can be intentional with yourself and how you focus your attention and your time, but you can't control it, man. So
do you think that it's more important than ever to be adaptable and flexible, adapt on the fly right now with these rapid changes? Or, because some people just, they don't like to change, especially as you grow older. It's much more difficult.
A lot of people.
Yeah, man. So what do you think? Should this become a part of our DNA, to always tweak some things in how we behave? Or if we stay kind of the same, then we will always have the tribe, the group of followers who will just love us for this authentic expression of us. Who's not trying to, follow trends and always capitalize on trends.
That's a great question. And
how you gonna?
Yeah,
do
I mean,
this?
I think adaptability. Yeah. Well, I guess when you talk about change, do you mean like? Are you more talking about going with the trends of things and how quickly things are? Like, there's a million ways you could take that, right? You're talking about style, like or are you talking about technology? Or are you talking about? I guess that would be my question to you.
Well, even with my podcast.
What do you mean by change? Like, given the context of change, what are you talking about as far as like?
Well, even with my podcast, I can use AI tools to generate shorts, right? It just cuts whatever it thinks is the best cuts. But they look sloppy. They don't look like me, like something, because I agree. Chris Doe was on my podcast. He said that intuitively people always equate beauty and how things look. If something is aesthetically beautiful, it in our mind, it kind of automatically means that it's of great quality, right? And unless AI is able to do these clips the way I have video production agency, so that's the direct threat to my business. I'm not competing to other video agencies right now. My biggest threat is Opus AI or whatever other software that can create and edit podcasts and clips. So unless they are able to do a clip that feels really, really good, I'm not afraid, but somewhere in deep core, it just doesn't feel right for me to, I don't want to fire my people. I don't want my people not be able to make a living. That there's this component, but it just doesn't feel right for me to use AI in this particular area. But at the same time, on YouTube, AI is the biggest keyword on YouTube right now. When you look at the analytics, that's why channels that revolve around AI grow so rapidly. Maybe from this perspective, I will follow this trend. So I don't even know how to formulate this question, man. Maybe you can take it from there and put it together, piece it together somehow.
Well, I would go back to what I said, brother. Like, don't be scared of it, right? That's what I would say, because all those things you just mentioned, like, you can't control where it goes. So number one is like, I would encourage you to like start catching yourself whenever you hint that there's some fear. Fear never, ever, 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 no matter what. Doesn't help you out. It helps you if there's like a lion in front of you that's going to eat you, sure. But fear in this context is never good. So I would try your best when you start feeling that, like you get nervous about the future and stuff you can't control, take pause for a second, right? So that's number one. Number two is, if it doesn't feel right, go with that. If it doesn't, your body will tell you, man, if it doesn't feel right to use these clips or these generators, don't use it. That's number two. So I would argue that there's going to be a massive amount of people that, I don't know if it's going to be 50-50, but I think there's going to be a huge chunk of people who only want to deal with human beings, and they don't want, if you have anything to do with AI, they're going to write you off. So that camp will always be there. And then I think there'll be the extreme side of that, where people are just like AI everything, and they're down to put a chip in their brain, and like that'll be a camp too. I think that's going to be real. But I think most of us will land somewhere in the middle, in that we can recognize it as a tool. I kind of think AI is a lot like money right now, where it enhances who you are. It doesn't. And so if you're a piece of shit, right, you're going to do piece of shit kind of things with your AI. If you're a good person, you're going to use it for good. I believe it enhances who you are right now. It's a mirror too. It reflects like what you're being. So I think most of us are going to land in that middle, is what I'm saying. So use it when it's good for you. Use it where it makes sense. Use it for definitely things like productivity. Use it if you can to spot some loops in your thinking. Like, oh, that's not bad. I mean, that's not a bad thing to do. I think like anything, if you're going too far, you feel yourself like falling off into like, whoa, I let it do everything. Maybe take a step back, right? I mean, like, okay, there's some value in still doing the hard thing. And so, but I would keep that balance, dude. I definitely hear a lot of people are like, well, don't use it for this, don't use it for that. And it's like, again, man, I'm going to let my own self, my judgment, my discernment is like, if it doesn't feel right, then yeah, definitely I won't do it. But I think it's a tool that absolutely is going to be, it is, right? It's a game changer for everybody. And so I wouldn't be scared of it.
I sent you a little survey before the conversation, and you said that one of the biggest lessons that you learned is that what you're seeing is what you're being, but you didn't arrive to this conclusion right away. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, man. So it all goes back to belief systems, but I do believe that what you're seeing is what you're being. Like everything that's a result in your world right now, in some way, shape, or form comes from you. And so there's a level of ownership there that is very uncomfortable for a lot of people. And I understand that. But it's single-handedly the thing that's probably changed my life more is accepting that. So you have to understand, man, I am so far from being any type of like special or anything like that, man. I like when this shuts off, right? I'm going to go inside and I'm going to hang out with my two girls. I'm going to take them on a morning walk. Like one of them is sick. I'm going to work a normal job today. I have a boss. Like I happen to make content and I got a decent little subscriber boost from it. But like, dude, I'm a normal person and I have struggles and I have things going on in my life that are really freaking hard. But when I took ownership of my life and accepted that, like, okay, everything going on around me is my, I wouldn't say my fault, but it's like, it's a result of my decisions, my actions, and my patterns of thinking. Dude, it's led to some crazy stuff. It's led to this podcast. I mean, I could go on and on about the things that have changed, because when I first started all of this, man, I was miserable and I didn't believe any of that. I mean, I was driving to work and I hated my life. I was like, this sucks. I'd lost everything. I had to find a new job as a recruiter, and it was the worst type of job for me. I mean, it's just people all day long and in your face, and it is horrible. It's a horrible. But I had to do what I had to do, and it was in that moment though of accepting that, like, this is all my fault, that led me to change. That's what I'm trying to say, is like the victim mentality never helps. And I know it's like, it feels good to do that sometimes, and it feels good to have people validate that you're going through a hard situation. But I don't think that helps. Even in your situation, like, I'm gonna say, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but like, dude, I have such empathy for people who are going through, hard times, because again, it's all relative to me. Like my 10 out of 10 pain might be different than your 10 out of 10 pain, right? Like, as I don't know how much pain you can handle, but let's assume that whatever your max is, it's irrelevant to what my max is. We're both at our max, right? Like, we're both just, we can't take any more pain. So I think suffering is like that. So it's easy to go like and look at my situation and be like, yeah, but you're not going through that. Like, doesn't matter, dude. And in that way, I could be filthy rich and live in a really good situation. But if I am suffering through that and my body's reacting the same as if the person who is, dirt poor, and I know that's crazy, but the amount of suffering in a human is the same. I think, like, that those levels, and so it doesn't help to have someone agree with you, right? Like, it doesn't, like, how you could have everybody in the world be like, oh my gosh, you're right, man. Like, that is really hard. And like, let's say that happened. It's like, okay, cool. So everybody agrees that what you're going through is really hard. How does that help you? Now, like, once you get past that, once you get the validation of it and you get that little like boost of happiness, because you're like, okay, people see me, then what? Doesn't change your situation. And so I just think it's never the answer, no matter how hard it is. And there are really, really hard situations in life that I get it. Saying that is going to sound ridiculous in those moments, but I still think in the long run, it matters a lot. So being what you're seeing, like that's just my way of saying, like, man, take ownership of your life and what's going on in here. When you feel peace and you feel love and you feel, all those kind of corny things that people talk about, like, it does reflect into your outer world. And I have seen it change, man. Like, I've seen it change things and people in my life that is hard to explain. It's very difficult to put that into words to explain to you, but living through that, it's reinforced this idea that what I'm seeing is what I'm being even more for me. Like, I am like all in on that, because I didn't believe it. And then I started practicing it, because it is a practice. It's a way of thinking. And then watching that change things in my life, it's just reinforced it. And now I'm like, wow, this is so true.
Can you choose things you want to focus on? I mean, even do you have to, would you recommend people to choose things they give their attention to and kind of not disregard, but pay less attention to all the nonsense going on in the world?
Yeah, I think you have to be very careful of where you're putting your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Very careful. Very, very careful. Where you put your attention, right, is the only thing that matters. You could have all these type of things going on, right? All these different, but wherever your attention is where the energy goes. So 100%, man, you gotta be really careful. I think the first step for anybody going through a hard time is you have to audit yourself, and that's very difficult to do. AI can be a great tool for that, because again, you can, as long as you're honest, like, you got to be honest. But now even more so with this like voice note, like, you could sit there and do the voice dictation, right? The one that records you not the one that talks back with you, but
Yeah.
record yourself. You could just sit there for 30 minutes and just rant about what's going on in your life, how you feel about it, where you want to go, what your hurdles are, where you're stuck, what's gone well, your relationships, all of that. And if you dumped that in and then you said, now I want you to be brutally honest with me. I want you to tell me not what I want to hear, but find the patterns in what I said there. Like, what is the real issue with what's going on with me? You can find that out, man. But your attention is everything. So definitely got to be careful with where you put that attention.
Man, that's deep. That hits hard, because I know for sure that I have some things that I don't want a brutal, honest answer on,
Like what? Like what? Where do you feel like with what I'm saying, where do you feel like in your life that's showing up?
I've made some poor decisions, taken some poor choices, and I kind of have this guilt that's occupying me 24/7, and I think that external validation is gonna help me, to get rid of all this stuff. But it seems like I've done so much damage, to myself and to other people around me, and it also has to do something with addiction problems. I've never told anyone about that, but whatever. So and I know I can't change the past, right? But in a way, I just somehow I want to earn enough credits, enough points right now, and some external validation points that I think will finally help me get rid of this feeling of guilt, So I don't know. Whatever.
Well, thanks for sharing that, dude. That's like I said, that's
to
the first
to be
start
honest,
there.
man.
But
Giving,
look, man,
I like giving. I like. I created this business in Ukraine, and I only hire Ukrainians, and I pay people who are in need, and I feel like this is me giving back to society. And I'm doing this podcast because I think that so many people have identity crisis. And I think you know this better than me, man. People just don't know what they want to do in their life. They think that this fancy corporate job or a status is gonna fill the void. But in reality, this is what you said. It doesn't happen. A lot of times it even magnifies the problem. When you get all the money on all the accolades, it feels even worse because I remember how I was feeling driving a fancy car because at one point in my life I created a startup and I sold the company to the group of investors, and and finally I got all money and time, and I distinctly remember how I was driving my Mercedes at night, and I was feeling so fucking lonely. And I just couldn't put my finger on why? Because I have all of this shit, right? So luckily to me, I lost everything. I said luckily because I think that was a kind of blessing in disguise. Because that was a great lesson for me to understand that materialistic goods are not gonna buy you happiness, right? And are not gonna buy you fulfillment if you're not giving back, if you're not creating something for the society. So right now I'm kind of reverse engineering this whole stuff. I'm not having a quick success. I don't have this hits of dopamines every day. It's got more gradual, right? But I appreciate it with every single step. I appreciate bigger guests on my show. I appreciate deep-hearted comments. When people say, "Man, thank you so much. I learned a lot," or "This inspired me." Oh man, that means so much to me. So yeah, I think I just need to hopefully the war gonna end at some point. Now I have so many friends all around the world with owing to my podcast, right? So I can now travel, and these people are going to accept me with warm arms and open arms. So I mean, the future is bright. Right now, I just have to keep giving, creating value for people, and I think everything else will take care of itself. And I'm really, really thankful, my man, so for the opportunity to talk to you. Yeah, it was really, really beautiful, and heartwarming.
Yeah, man. Good, dude. Well, I think, like I said, you're. It is weird, huh? To get like the things that you want. I think for the average viewer too, because no doubt, dude, I'll be the first to admit it too. Like money, you would rather be the guy with money and feel empty than the guy with no money and feel empty. Probably, like most people would choose that.
Yeah.
And I totally understand why. But I would say that the feeling, just for if everyone's curious, if you have no money and you want to know like what that feels like, you could take it down to the simplest of things. Like if you got a new computer, and that's a massive deal. So you could take this in any situation, but let's say you get that computer and you wanted it and you finally got it. That computer could be a shirt to somebody. They really want that shirt and they got that shirt, or they got that computer, or they got that house or that car, or that feeling that feels really good when you first get it. It's the same with getting a yacht. Like it feels great. You're like, oh my gosh, I got the yacht. But that feeling where like tomorrow, it's like, oh yeah, that shirt that you wanted so bad, it's in your closet now hanging up. Like, oh, it fades a little bit, right? That excitement. It's the exact same feeling. Maybe the yacht though lasts maybe a little bit longer. It's like a week or something. But my point is that feeling is what that everybody can relate to, that because that's the feeling that everybody's talking about. So it makes you wonder, man. It all goes back to, everything goes back to then. Well, what is the point? Because you get so lost in the journey. You get so lost in it. Whatever your journey you're on, for many people, the bulk of the journey is about getting to financial freedom. I would argue that most people are trying to do that, and it's not because people love money. It's because they want the freedom that money brings. I don't think people care at all about money. I think they care about the freedom that it represents. But most of us are lost in that journey, and we spend our whole lives. That's why they talk about when you're like 50 and you wake up, you're like, wait, what happened? Because that whole time you were just focused on getting to a destination. And you that's why like all those corny sayings about like the destination is the journey is the point.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a better mentality.
And you can never understand it, like
to have, because
I think someone said that it's like an unteachable lesson. You cannot understand that the journey is the most important thing until you get to the destination. And it's kind of sad. You can't understand that money doesn't matter unless you actually get money. It's sad. You need to get there to understand the lesson.
Yeah, man. It's this game of life. One thing I have. Look, I'm not you, and you're not me. But like I think if there's anything that can help people is realize that your pain and someone else's pain, it's all relative, right? So that is number one. Like a human being can only take so much suffering and so much pain and so much heartbreak, but it's all relative. And rather than worry about some other person, like that person, like you could still fix your own shit, for lack of a better word. Like you have so much right now, and anybody listening, you have your own money journey, your own journeys that you're going. Like if you just fixed that part, if you just made your own bed before you worried about everybody else's bed, it's like that alone that's a game changer. That perspective is a game changer. I don't care who you are, where you're at, what status you're in. And it's crazy, man, but it's true. The things that you want, your life, I believe this, your life shows you It shows you what you're being. That's what I'm trying to say. And so like, if you want money, if that is a big focus for people, you want money, you have to act like the guy or girl that has money. You have to be that in your life. How do you do that when you don't have money and when things are going wrong? How does that work? Well, it starts with making a choice, right? That you're going to be either grateful or what, even if you don't believe it, like you have to start somewhere. But you literally have to be that to get it. And it's the crazy paradox of life. But I swear to you, if you look into anything about life, it's all a big paradox anyways. It is. It's all a big old, it's like the things that you want, right? If you believe in the law of attraction or manifestation or any of these things, it's like the more you focus on something, the more you put it on a pedestal, the farther it goes away. And it's because you're creating distance. You're saying, I want this, which means you don't have it. And when you don't have something, the universe just provides you more of, you don't have it. It's very strange. But there's some really good books. Like one of them is called Reality Transurfing. I think a lot of books and a lot of podcasts and a lot of things are just, we're all regurgitating the same ideas. Yeah. It's just sometimes you have to hear it from someone and it clicks. So like, I might have heard a certain lesson 1,000 times, right? But for some reason, I hear it from a guy who has tattoos, right? Like me, and I go, it just clicks. I like that guy. Like he didn't say anything new, but it makes sense because he said it. I think that's what we're all doing. Like I have a unique set of people that I can reach that for whatever reason, the way I speak, the way I think, I guess, it resonates with a certain group of people that you cannot reach. Right? Because so I'm just doing my job of like reaching the people that I can reach. You will have the same. You will have a group of people that dude, I cannot talk to. They won't listen to me because I have tattoos. They'll be like, I don't like this guy. I don't trust him. I don't, whatever. Right. And then they will look at you and be like, I like him. He has credibility in XYZ, and they'll listen to you. And so you have to own that you have your own sphere of influence, own that and squeeze as much as you can out of that. Right? Before you even worry about someone else's influence. I think so many of us, and it gets me bad. I know I'm going on a tangent, but I really feel strongly about this. So many of us, we worry so much about what someone else is doing. And it's like, you have your own sphere of influence and your own things going on. If you would just focus there, I promise you, all these things that you want, it will start happening. Like there's something to this universe about like our frequencies or something. Like we attract what we're being. I really mean it. I mean, and dude, I watched this video this morning before I hopped on with you about kind of like the 5 universal truths. And, there are some really smart people out there that have done the research, that have like looked at all the ancient, religions and texts, and they've dissected it all, and they've found the patterns, and they've kind of put together these universal truths that are seemingly what all the greats in the past have tried to tell us all. And a lot of it comes back to like, love is the answer. Fear is the real bad guy. We are all one. We're not separate. There's this analogy of the ocean and the wave. I love that. Like, so the ocean itself is one entity. And when a wave comes up, it looks separate for a second. It has its own shape, its own form. And even when a spray of ocean comes, it separates for half a second, but then when it comes crashing back down, it is not a separate wave. It is the ocean. And we are all that. And it's really hard to tell people that. And that's why I don't preach it anymore. Cause I'm like, there's no point, man. Like you're either going to figure that out on your own. If someone asks me directly, then I'll say something about it. But like, yeah, man, that's what I would tell my daughters, is like to realize that just your own sphere, man, your own sphere is like, just worry about yourself and your little journeys. And I promise you, it will radiate out. Don't get lost. The game is don't get lost in what other people are doing. This is why content is actually really bad, and why I try to focus on just creating, because you're either a creator or you're a consumer. There is no in between. You're a creator or you're a consumer. And I think for yourself, even myself, it's like, focus on creating, brother. Create. You want to be a creator. We are inherent. Human beings are creators. Create. Try not to consume as much as you create, I would say.
Wow. Let's see. Maybe I'll take your word for this. Maybe this will be a channel challenge, like for me, to consume less and to create, and just disconnect myself from all these results, aka views, subscribers, because they're messing with my mind, And yeah, just do what I feel can be beneficial for people. Man, thank you so much. I think this was one of the most, the deepest and eye-opening conversations I've had so far. I think this is a 50th episode. So yeah, happy anniversary to me. Thank you, man, for being on the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, thanks, dude. I hope I feel like I went on a tangent there. I'll just say I love what we covered in this. I obviously I'm very passionate about it, right? So final word, man, is like try and drop the fear. I think that's like the theme of this podcast. It's been on my mind lately, so maybe that's why it came up. But drop the fear of AI in particular, and see how much that transforms, like how you feel about it, right? Like you cannot, none of you out there can control where it goes or how it unravels. So I would first start by dropping the fear, and then listening to yourself. If it doesn't feel right and you don't feel like you're someone who wants to get super involved with it, then that's fine. Someone said to me yesterday, it's like being the AI guy is like saying you're the internet guy, right? It doesn't make sense. It's silly. It's like, it's just a new way of life that's it's gonna show up in your life whether you like it or not. It's just here. It's a new form of technology that will transform our society, but don't be scared of it. I think that'll put you on the wrong side of history, maybe is the best way to put it. But have your opinions, use your discernment, but don't be scared. That's what I would say. Don't be scared. There's no reason.
Cool. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you so much, and have a great week.
All right, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Cheers, dude. Sorry for being late. Later,
Cheers,
dude.
bye. See you.